Good day, everyone. Welcome to the second day of this February edition of our discussions on various legal topics. Remember that yesterday we started the topic of strategic positioning. That lawyers should, I'm sorry, I said lawyers because I'm a lawyer, so I'm just used to the word. Business owners and entrepreneurs should position themselves such that they will be so attractive, they will be so, they will get the right clients that will patronize them. I was telling you about my story, how I worked somewhere, you know, I worked somewhere, I, I worked in so many places, went on my own, which was a mistake, then went back to paid employment, then again to my private practice, which by the grace of God, things are better now. So I want to talk about my story, another person's story. But I think before I go into that other person's story, so the conclusion of my story yesterday was just that I'm far better off now than I was before. And the reason is because I have learned, like I mentioned yesterday, I've learned so many things in my journey as an employee, as an employer, a business owner as at that time, then back to being an employee, then coming back again to being a self-employed person. So I've been able to position myself such that I don't have to beg or to start looking for clients here and there. Because I've positioned myself very well, they keep coming. So I read a story recently, you understand, and I don't know if you've heard about Mr. Biodun Shobanjo. Mr. Biodun Shobanjo is the owner of Insight Communications. That's right, Insight Communications. It's an advertising agency, and I also learned that he owns one security outfit. I can't remember the name of that security outfit. But the story about that man is very inspiring because when I read that story, I was like, wow, this is a story one needs to share, you know. So I think the man was working in a bank, either a corporate organization, a finance, or a bank. I can't remember, either of the two. So he now saw that companies in Nigeria were not showcasing themselves well. They are not advertising themselves well. We know how brands all over the world spend billions of dollars, trying to project their image or their brand. You know of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and so many brands all over the world, Mercedes-Benz, Toyota. They spend millions and millions of dollars every year trying to push their brand to people. So this man came up, he resigned from his organization and started Inside Communications, you know, and started Inside Communications. Started Inside Communications. So when he started Inside Communications, and of course, the road was not easy, it was a bit rough as at that time. But it persevered, it continued, it kept at it. Now he's into strategic planning, creative solutions, digital content, and brand consulting. And he's also into security. He's also into security, and and other things here and there. And his major brands, of course, incidentally, Pepsi is also one of his brands. I don't know if you remember that long throat advert. It was the brain behind it. Then Nestle, Peak Milk, FCMB, and others. So how did the man, he spotted a gap? And that is how an entrepreneur should think. An entrepreneur should reason, or an entrepreneur should see things. An entrepreneur or a business owner is looking for an opportunity, a gap or something missing. And you come there and you fix that problem. And by fixing that problem, you make a lot of money. And of course, just like every other challenge or every other business or every other venture, you will have, you know, setbacks, challenges, situations you have to deal with. That's just normal for everything that is worthwhile, everything that is, you know, that is going to be big. It will face a lot of hurdles, and life will test you. Let me put it that way. Life will test you, But for those who persevere and push on, you definitely make it. So the man is an household name now in terms of advertising, brand consulting, and security. You know, that security I think is a well-known, but I can't remember the name now. So the man pivoted from being working for a bank or a financial company, then owning one of the, if not arguably Nigeria's biggest advertising agency and security outfit, by positioning himself strategically to solve the problem that a lot of people did not identify. And of course, okay, sorry, of course, is making it. When it comes to advertising in Nigeria, inside communications comes first, and you can't talk about advertising in Nigeria without mentioning inside communications. So, what is the lesson there? As a business owner, you need to identify problems and offer solutions. Your identifying problems and offering solutions will give you an edge over everybody. Remember the time, I'm laughing because I remember that time MTN came into the picture, you know, before Glow, Etisalat, and all other ones came in. MTN was the first telecommunication company to come into Nigeria. I'm sure probably other people had Nigerians, or other people had the idea of, starting a telecommunication company in Nigeria. But MTN saw what many people did not see. MTN is a South African company. I'm sure most of us know that. They saw something many people did not see. And in early 2000, 2001, 2002, and thereabouts, they were giving their license, and within a couple of years, they made their money back. And they are one of the biggest companies in Nigeria, MTN. Of course, other telecommunication outfits, companies are there now. So we have plethora of options for us to choose. But the point was that MTN kickstarted that revolution, quote and unquote, of communication and all that. So they were able to identify that problem and position themselves very well. And they cashed out, and they're still cashing out. If you look at 6 or 7 out of every 10 or 15 Nigerians, they all use MTN. I use MTN, and I use Airtel too. But the point is that a lot of people use MTN and other networks. So MTN were able to maximize their profits as at that time, and I'm sure they're still making their money up to now. So the lesson is that, I was talking about Mr. Biodun Shubanjo, the owner of Insight Communications. He was able to identify the problem of advertising for Nigeria, for companies, and he was able to, come in and solve that problem, and he's still solving it. He's still solving it. So, and in Nigeria, I've observed it. In Nigeria, there's so many opportunities. I tell you the truth. And most of the sectors in Nigeria, aviation, education, sports, media, just name it, medicine, if not all all the areas of life, just think of all the major areas, logistics, music and entertainment. Of course, you will see that one is one of even the biggest enterprises in Nigeria now, music and entertainment, the film industry and all that. So all these sectors have their gaps, have something missing that entrepreneurs, smart business owners have been able to identify and latch on. And they are making a killing out of it. Because once you identify a problem, once you see an opportunity, and you strategically, position yourself, you're going to make your money big time. That's it. You're going to make your money. And we know, okay, Nigeria is not growing, and all. People say a lot of things every day, but people are still making their money legitimately. They are identifying problems, positioning themselves strategically, and cashing out. So you can also do that too as a business owner. Find the problems. Look out for those problems. Look out for those gaps, and find a solution to it. So tomorrow we'll continue on it. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Thank you.